Welcome back to my channel. It has been a little while. I've just been extremely busy with some things going on at my shop. As I've probably mentioned before, I own a shop here in Versailles, Kentucky, and my window was busted out in October by a construction company. So all that stuff was kind of like going on. I was really stressed out, didn't really feel like filming, all that kind of stuff, but that is neither here nor there. I kind of wanted to actually discuss the Vivienne Westwood Nana collection. But before we get into that, I had mentioned before how I just kind of want to tell you guys some of my favorite scents that I've been wearing as of recently. I'll eventually get into doing that with makeup too before each video. But just some of my favorite things I've been kind of digging here recently. So 2 perfumes, I'm really into layering. So 2 perfumes that I've really been reaching for here recently, and I feel like it was very appropriate considering this is like a Nana themed video. I wanted to use a perfume that reminded me of Nana O because she is my favorite. So I've been layering Red Flag by Something Strange and Aura Kiss of Rose by La Fede. I wish I knew how to say that. I probably should have looked it up before I made this video, but these 2 together give Nana O. So I figured it was like very appropriate considering I want to embody every bit of her. So okay, so to preface, I have been a Nana fan since I was really young. I first discovered the manga through a close friend of mine. I've always had a really deep emotional connection to this manga for numerous reasons, mostly because I'm just an extremely empathetic person. The characters are very dynamic and I feel very, very relatable. Also, being a queer person, I feel like the story of Nana can go multiple different ways, whether it's talking about friendship, like close friendship, or queerness, but that is neither here nor there, and we're not here to debate that. There's a lot of debates about that in the community, but I have been a certified Nana fan forever, or Ayazawa fan. I have all of the Paradise Kiss books, Last Quarter, Neighborhood Story. I have every single Nana release, including the Japanese versions. And I've also started collecting the omnibuses as well. So this is the Vivienne Westwood edition that, so Vivienne Westwood partnered with Ayazawa and Nana to release this special cover and art for the first Nana omnibus. I was super stoked to get this. I literally went all the way to Louisville to grab this. It was the last book that Books A Million had. I was very lucky to get it. And I currently just pre-ordered the other 2 that just released as well, so I'm pretty excited to get those. I mostly wanted to talk about, you know, the Vivienne Westwood and Nana release, the drop that was just released. And also the issue with like scalpers and kind of like other issues that I had with the collection as a whole. Now, given the fact that I've been a fan of this series for an extremely long time, I am very emotionally attached to it. I was really, really excited when they announced that they were going to be doing this. So for those of you who are not fans or maybe interested in the series but don't know very much about it, Nana or Ayazawa just celebrated the 25th release date or 25th anniversary of the Nana series. So technically the Nana series is not finished. Ayazawa got very ill and she wasn't able to finish the series. So a lot of us fans have been at a standstill with what happened with Nana and Hachi and the rest of the crew. In a way, you could think of it as kind of poetic because in a way, how do we really know how a story ends? And I feel like I have made peace with the fact that we may never know exactly what happened to Nana O. We may never know the end story for Hachi or for Nobuo or Yasu or any of the characters at that. It was kind of crazy to hear Aizawa kind of confirm that they were going to be restarting, or not restarting, but basically writing an end to the series and getting to understand what happened to the characters after the last events in the book. So very exciting. And to follow that, obviously the 25th anniversary editions. And so for the 25th birthday, there was a announcement a couple months back that Vivienne Westwood was going to be releasing a book and a collection for Nana. Very exciting, but I had 2 fears kind of going into this entire thing, is that either it wasn't going to truly represent what the fans wanted for Nana, or that it was going to be incredibly overpriced given the fact that Vivienne Westwood, I mean, is a luxury brand, that it wouldn't be accessible to most of us fans, and that scalpers were going to ruin it for everybody. Lo and behold, every single fear that I had came true, which really sucks. Getting into this, in terms of the release, now I'm going to be kind of discussing numerous things regarding like issues with this release, because it isn't just so much scalpers and Vivienne Westwood and so forth, as much as it is also to how scalpers and the there's like the specific thing like this this pressure to get something before it sells out, it's never coming back again or anything, and how it feeds into that kind of mass consumerism thing. And a lot of like true fans kind of miss out on a lot of opportunities due to this behavior. Vivienne Westwood announced that they were going to be dropping the collection on November 13th, 2025. Everyone had it set in their clocks, Everyone had it set on their calendar, time, date, when it was going to release, and no one really knew exactly what was going to be dropping until like I think it was either a few days before or a week before. So lo and behold, Vivienne Westwood actually drops the entire collection a day early on the 12th. Now, I shouldn't have to go too far into explanation why this was a problem, but it caused a slew of problems for people who were really excited on seeing the collection or getting the collection. And it also caused a lot of scalpers to grab everything they could, and they are now selling it for tens of thousands of dollars, which is the same thing that happened with this book. Now, for reference point, this book is $20. $20. Like, wait. 25, I got it for 20 from Books A Million. So I got it for $5 less than its actual price. But that being said, scalpers bought up all these books, including the little standees that came with them, and are selling them for over $100 on Mercari, on Poshmark, on eBay, and like all of these sites. And it's a pain and very, very frustrating. And I knew that this was something that was going to happen with this release. A lot of people have been having numerous complaints about the essence of the release. There are some things that I agree with. There are some things that I don't agree with. It drops a day early. Almost everything sells out immediately. And of course, a lot of people were upset about that. But a lot of people were also upset about the fact that a lot of the jewelry came in gold. To me, as someone who strictly, obviously, wears gold, it didn't really upset me that much. I do think that what Vivienne Westwood should have done is that, as they do with a lot of their jewelry, they should have released everything in two-tone. So release gold options and release silver options. But the biggest thing that people were the most upset about was the giant orb necklace lighter, the giant orb lighter necklace that Sheen wears in the anime and in the manga was sold in just gold, which in some ways kind of actually makes sense because the original release of the lighter was in gold. It was never in silver. The original release was just in gold. Ayazawa created it to be silver in the manga to match like the rest of like the aesthetic and so forth. That being said, I do think that Vivienne Westwood should have released that in silver as well for people who wanted to stick more true to the anime and the manga. But I wasn't really super upset about that. What I was more upset with was the price. Granted, I do want to say, I know that Vivienne Westwood is a luxury brand. The optics on this were really bad though. When you think about the people, like the fans of Nana, like what they have access to, the average Nana fan or average fan of most fan bases is not going to be able to drop over $1,000 on one singular item. In the overall Vivienne Westwood release for Nana, like as a whole, there were a couple purses, there were definitely several jewelry items, there was a corset, there was a skirt, there was a blazer, there were a couple pairs of shoes, there was a t-shirt, there was like definitely several things to be released. All of them were definitely very expensive. What I would have liked to see from Vivienne Westwood for this is like them understanding the fans really wanted to be a part of this. And I do understand that they are a luxury brand, but I know that luxury brands are not stupid. They definitely understood that a lot of people wanted their stuff, and I definitely feel like that they should have tried to lower their prices a little bit in order for people, like average everyday people, to be able to get this stuff and wear it very proudly. I believe that the skirt alone was $600. The rocking horse shoes were pretty expensive. Gosh, the t-shirt alone I think was over $250. I mean, like, a lot of the stuff was very, very high, but the lighter is what got me $1,700, at least American dollars, including shipping, taxes, everything. Like, it was going to total to over $2,000. I was devastated because I tried to set back a little bit of money. I worked really hard. I did not think that it was going to be as expensive as it was, and obviously I did not get it because one, it sold out very quick, and two, that is incredibly expensive. So it was definitely disappointing that Vivienne Westwood let us down in that. But also what they let us down in is the fact that this entire collection was extremely soulless. I don't feel like it reflected the manga as a whole as it should have been. What I think, the best things that I feel like absolutely reflected the manga were the shoes, for one, the rocking horse shoes. Those I feel like were definitely Nana O, and even Hachiko. Necklaces, the big pearl one, I definitely felt like was Hachi to a T. The Shin lighter, of course, the giant orb lighter necklace. And of course there was like a couple things here and there. I felt like the overall feeling of it was almost like things that they sold all the time anyway. And I know people are going to be like, well, duh, because like a lot of the fashion in Nana is based off of Vivienne Westwood, or is a direct, you know, play on Vivienne Westwood, and I know that. But the way that Ayazawa kind of drew in Vivienne Westwood into the manga was almost a little bit like darker and more moody than what Vivienne Westwood created even back then. And I felt like it set a completely different tone for Vivienne Westwood's wear, that it kind of made it a little less, I don't necessarily want to say like girly, but it made it more androgynous and moody and kind of intense. And that's what I really loved about it. And that's when I kind of realized, especially when I was like younger, like, oh, you can really take these pieces and kind of turn them into anything. But I felt like this particular release from Vivienne Westwood for Nana felt too light, if that makes sense. I think it's very obvious that the skirt and the asymmetrical blazer was kind of meant for like a Nana O look, but actually I will show you guys something. Okay, so what I have here is a standee, like a tiny like mini standee that they gave us with the release of the Vivienne Westwood book. Here is Nana O. She's looking very cute. She is in, I don't know if you can see the plaid or tartan rocking horse shoes and the tartan skirt and blazer. So this is the same skirt and blazer that was released for Vivienne Westwood. I will put a photo up here. So looking at this, seeing what this is, can you guys like kind of see the issue here? Like, this is like very clearly like very like pink, and it doesn't really match Nana O. Like, if you can see the color here, if you can see the moodiness that this gives, this is more accurate to Nana O. This is like the soul. This feels soulless. This feels like cosplay. This feels like what Nana O actually is. This is like what I imagine her to be. There is like a deeper reddish like burgundy here. Colors are a lot more muted, and I feel like this is the essence of her. She's punk, she's badass, she has just this energy about her. And wildly enough, they kind of did the same thing to Hachi's dress. So the dress that was released right here, is it cute? Sure, it's okay, but something about it still feels off. So as you see here, the colors, obviously, a lot more muted, a lot more cute, I feel. These match Hachiko. I feel like what was up here, I don't know, it just doesn't match the essence of what the manga was, and that frustrates me. And again, going back to Nana O's as well, just doesn't match the essence of it at all. Like, at all. I mean, like, look at the intense difference between this and this, and this, and this. It does not make any sense. I don't get like why they kind of like went with this. It feels so cosplay. It feels so kind of like ridiculous. A lot of people I feel like have been kind of like defending this, saying like, oh, that was the intention. I'm like, Vivienne Westwood doesn't necessarily create cosplay though. I mean, this is for people to wear, to make looks with, and so forth. Vivienne Westwood jewelry is not technically real jewelry. It's not real pearls. It's not real diamonds. It's not real anything like that. It's costume jewelry. So by technicality, in a lot of ways, if you don't properly take care of it, it is not going to stand the test of time. We all know that. But still, at the end of the day, when you're spending so much for these things, you want it to be and feel authentic to what is inspiring it. So I would be absolutely lying if I said that I was happy at all with this release. And it sucks, because as a fan of Aizawa and Nana, and honestly anything that Aizawa releases, I just feel like it did her and her vision a massive disservice. And it's really disappointing to say that, because I have loved Vivienne Westwood's design since I was younger. I feel like she was like the first person who kind of like really pushed me into fashion and understanding individual aesthetic and individual thought and who you are as a person through fashion. So it's kind of unfortunate that this was as lifeless as it was. Now, if I am being completely honest, maybe the reason why this release felt so lifeless was because Vivienne Westwood passed away. She passed away, I think, in December of 2022? 2020? No, it was 2022. I feel like if she were still alive and still had a lot of the vision for the brand, maybe this release wouldn't have felt the way that it felt. And maybe it would have been more true to Aizawa's vision and Nana like as a whole. I wish that I had been more ecstatic about the release. I've been seeing so many people get it and buy it, and there's a large part of me that has so much FOMO, because like I kind of want to be a part of that, but then there's another part of me that's like, yikes, this just does not feel like Nana. Now we kind of segue into the other issue involving this is scalpers. And I cannot stand scalpers, resellers, whatever you want to call them. I think they are frauds and they're scammers, and it is really disappointing that, let's just say that this Vivienne Westwood drop was really good. Let's just say that they made it a little bit more affordable for all fans, that everything was on point in terms of the drop, that it was like really awesome in that way. I feel like scalpers would have ruined it. They would have ruined it, just like they're currently ruining it, just like they're ruining the book releases and stuff like that. They are buying things up at an astronomical level as soon as they drop, a lot of these like bots, and they're buying everything that they can and then reselling them for exorbitant prices. And I think that it is so wildly unfair how they keep getting away with it. If I was able to make legislation about it, I would absolutely make it in a jailable offense. Because it's kind of messed up, scamming people and reselling things the way that people do when they know that they're taking advantage of people. I don't think that it should be legal. There are just like things where, honestly, so I don't know if you guys remember when the OLED Switch was released and everyone went nuts about it. It was such a big deal because it was a bigger screen, it was much nicer, blah, 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 blah. So when the OLED Switch released and dropped, every single one of them across Best Buy, Walmart, everywhere sold out within, I think it was like a minute and a half. It was the fastest that Nintendo ever sold out. People were posting these Switches for sale for over $1,000 or more. Like almost instantly on eBay, like everywhere, people were selling them so fast. I remember being so frustrated because I had saved for a Switch OLED. I had a Switch Lite before that, and I had saved and I was so ready to lay down the money for it, and I couldn't get one. And a lot of people made complaints to Nintendo saying like, why did you not make it to where bots were not able to buy these products? Nintendo just kind of put their arms up in the air. They're like, whatever. And I kind of feel like this is the same thing here. Like a lot of people are criticizing Vivienne Westwood right now, and even Books A Million and a couple other places selling these books, being like, why did you guys not put protections in place for the fans to actually be able to get these books, and resellers and scalpers not being able to make a small fortune by ripping people off. And again, these brands are kind of going like, I don't know, whatever. And it's deeply frustrating because a lot of people get to miss out on things that matter to them. And to a lot of people, I get that this argument, this debate and everything, it does sound kind of stupid because at the end of the day, it's just materialistic shit. You don't really need it. But at the same time, for people who are collectors, for people where this stuff like really matters to them and this is a big deal to them, people do develop emotional attachments to things that make them feel safe. It's a lot of the reason why I collect Nana stuff. It's a reason why I collected every single one of the books, both in English, Japanese, the re-releases, why I collected all of Paradise Kiss. It's why I collected all of XXXholic. You know, like these books, these characters bring me a sense of release. Not release, but release, I guess, and relief and safety. And so that stuff to people, especially if you grow up in a childhood where you're needing that, it means a lot. And you can collect a lot of different things, you know? So people want to be able to enjoy that and obtain that without the need of going through scalpers and so forth to do it. So it's all deeply frustrating. The entirety of the Vivienne Westwood drop and situation has definitely been something I wish could have been a better experience for everyone. But I will say that what I am loving right now, like the coolest thing about all of this, is seeing all of the small creators, the small businesses and so forth coming forward and making stuff that is even cooler than that release. Like stuff that actually has the soul in it, that actually has the Nana series in it, that it has that essence. And seeing them make it affordable, seeing them making it size inclusive, because let's be for real, I'm a fat girl. I was not going to be able to fit in Vivienne Westwood because, again, luxury brands hate ass fat people. So I don't think that was a secret. I think that in a way, all of this that happened was for the better, because I love seeing the fact that so many small businesses and brands are coming forward and they're just like, we're going to give you guys something even better for the real fans, for the people who really care, for the people it matters to the most. We are giving this to you. And I've really been loving seeing that, especially someone who struggles with clothes sizing, and I am not a rich person at all. And a lot of my friends who also love Nana are not rich people. And to be honest, a lot of those Vivienne Westwood dupes are better than the originals, I will say. I have a couple, I'm gonna make a video eventually about all of my accessories and my jewelry and so forth, things that I like to accessorize with. That will be a completely separate video, and I can show you guys like my Vivienne Westwood collection. I have a couple like real items and then dupes, you know, like knockoffs, whatever. But to be honest, the knockoffs are much better quality anyways. But those are just like a lot of my thoughts regarding everything that has kind of gone down with this collection. I would have really liked to see the soul in this release. I feel bad for all of us fans who just are really overall disappointed with the collection and all the things kind of going on with it. But realistically, life is short. There's going to be more cool things like out there in regards to like Nana. And honestly, I am way more excited by the idea of Aizawa continuing the series, finishing it off. We get to understand exactly what happened towards the end of it all. And that brings my heart more comfort and joy than materialistic items ever could. I do have a small theory, just to kind of like end things on this video. I have a small theory that the reason why they're releasing the omnibuses is because I think that on the last omnibus is where they're going to finish the story.
It's a theory.
Okay, don't quote me on it. If you guys pick the theory up and this goes crazy, and that doesn't happen, please don't come to my house and beat me up. But it is a cool theory. I mean, think about it. At the end of all these omnibuses, like all of a sudden we get a last release book and it's literally the end of the story. Like it's like literally like Aizawa finished it. Like imagine how cool that would be. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. I love you guys so much. Again, I'm gonna try and get onto a good schedule. Sometimes it is difficult. I'm a business owner, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I have a bunch of cats and 2 dogs. My life is crazy, but I'm gonna try and get onto a more normal schedule. For all of my Nana fans, I love you even more, and let's hope to hear more things, good things about Nana soon. So you guys have a great day. Till next time.